Crimes of the Future is about the crimes committed by the human body against itself. And that, I know that that's kind of mysterious and kind of confusing. I think there are a lot of cases that one can refer to of people embracing their disease, a disease they have, a disability that they have, a mutation that they have. It's part of the human desire to make something good out of whatever the human condition offers. And so I think Saul Tenser is just in a sort of exaggerated, extreme version of that. He has found himself producing new organs in his body, or things that would be considered tumors, but in this case they seem to have an organization that a tumor does not have. A tumor is really a kind of a random collection of cells that grow uncontrollably. They do disrupt all kinds of things in the human body, but to no apparent purpose, and they're basically just destructive. But in this case, he's creating new organs that seem to have a function. We just don't know what that function is. And so it's a strange kind of, it's a strange kind of designer cancer. It's one of the characters calls it. Well, I wrote the script for the Crimes of the Future in around 1998, 99, so it's over 20 years old. And there were a couple of attempts to get it made, and for various reasons it didn't get financed and so on, and that happens, that's not unusual. But it was only when the producer, Robert Lantos, phoned me and said, you know, have you looked at your old script, you know? And I said, oh, because of its science fiction technology core, it's probably, I'm sure it's completely irrelevant now. And he said, no, you should reread it. It's more relevant than ever. I thought, okay, that's a good line. And I read it, and I thought he was right. I thought, how strange. I've never been much for prophecy. I don't think of art as being prophetic. But you can anticipate some things almost by accident, especially when you're writing something that is basically science fiction, as this movie is. We do have a sort of a telepathic kind of understanding of each other because we've worked together so many times, and that really helps on the set. Viggo is more than an actor, you know, because, I mean, he is a director himself, he's a screenwriter, a musician, a poet, a publisher, and so he approaches movie making that way. In other words, he's not shy about, let's say, commenting on the script, even if it's a scene that he, as his character, is not in. Well, now, the fact that Viggo and I are friends, and then I think he's a fabulous actor with a huge range, still doesn't mean that he would be, that you can cast him in any role, and that would be correct for him. And it's the same when he reads a script, even if it's from me, a friend, it doesn't mean that it's a no-brainer and he will do the movie. It has to be something that works for him. To my non-surprise, Leia brought a great acting intelligence and culture to the role, and an incredible emotional sense with her that I knew she would bring. And it really transforms the character of Caprice. She's still saying the same dialogue that was in the original script, but coming from Leia, it has a depth and an emotional impact that other actresses would not have brought. They might have brought something else, but not that. So it was very exciting working with her. She's just a delight to work with. The future? I have less of it. At 78, I have less of a future than I had before. But I think, I mean, I have often said that philosophically I'm an existentialist. I mean, I really think of myself that way. And part of the understanding that existentialism gives you as a philosophy is that we are constantly referring things to the future. We're constantly looking to the future. So given the designs that I was anticipating and that are described to some extent in the script, it was exciting to get to work with Carol Spear again. We literally have been working with each other for half a century. And once again, as with Vigo, you have a collaborator with Carol, a collaboration that's gone on much longer. There is a shorthand and a telepathy, and we just understand each other really well. And so exciting to make real these things that were in the script were just sort of suggestions of shapes and forms. And Carol, as usual, finds collaborators in her art department who can realize these things for us, both with designs and then physically creating these devices that drive so much of the movie.